After 5 sessions, the Supreme Court ends its oral arguments on the petitions against the transfer of excess PhilHealth funds to the National Treasury. Government officials insist the move was valid. Joash Malimban filed this report from Baguio City.
Wala po kaming nilabag na batas.
Finance Secretary Ralph Recto stood firm that the transfer of the initial 60 billion pesos from PhilHealth to the National Treasury was legal. He clarified that the government did not touch the funds of direct contributors or those who paid their contributions to PhilHealth themselves. Based on their computations, the total 89.9 billion pesos set to be transferred came from indirect contributions or funds provided by the government itself.
Under the unprogrammed appropriations, 183.1 billion pesos po ang maaaring ibalik ng PhilHealth sa National Treasury. Yet, the DOF exercised a prudent and moral decision to limit the return to the excess, idle, and unused government subsidies from 2021 to 2023 because we did not want to touch the hard-earned contributions of the PhilHealth members.
Recto also noted the funds transferred to the National Treasury were still used for health-related projects, including payments amounting to over 100 billion pesos for frontliners during the COVID-19 pandemic. He also argued that the infrastructure projects, such as roads and bridges, contribute to the improvement of the country's health sector. Recto said these developments help transport patients who need to reach hospitals. He added that if they had not identified the hundreds of billions in unused PhilHealth funds, they would have remained idle and unutilized. But petitioners argue that under the Universal Healthcare Law, unused funds should not be touched. Instead, they should be placed in an investment reserve fund. The reserve fund, as stated by law, must be exclusively for PhilHealth use. Petitioners also claim that many contributors feel that they are not receiving the benefits they deserve from their contributions. If there were indeed excess funds, they say benefits should have been increased and premium contributions should have been lowered.
If there is excess of the reserves, then it follows, Your Honor, na dapat sinunod nila yung batas. And that is increase benefits and decrease premium contributions, which we didn't see, Your Honor.
Petitioners fear that if they lose the case, it could open the floodgates for other government-owned and controlled corporations such as the GSIS and SSS to have their funds taken as well. Recto had previously stated that PhilHealth was not the only GOCC they reviewed before deciding where to source reserve funds. But he pointed out that PhilHealth had massive amounts of what he called sleeping money.
We cannot afford na maging lang tayo, wala nang rule of law, ika nga, no? Bara-bara na lang. Ano pa kaya yung batas? Ano pa ang constitution? It will open the floodgates for other abuses, for other anomalies.
The session for oral arguments on the PhilHealth fund transfer controversy concluded in Baguio City. However, several legal processes must still be completed before the Supreme Court decides whether the funds transferred to the National Treasury will be returned to PhilHealth. This includes the submission of memoranda by all involved parties within a non-extendable period of 30 days, which will be included in the Supreme Court's deliberations. Joash Malimban, Billionaire News Channel.